This is The Tameless Path, Unleashing the Power of Invasive Plants in Witchcraft by Kamden Cornell, published by Crossed Crow in 2024. Kamden is really just a wealth of information, and that, of course, is reflected in this book. Let me tell you about them according to the book jacket. It says, an apothecarist and wart hunter, Kamden S. Cornell has an avid love for plants of all kinds. A bioregional animist and folk witch, they specialize in using the plants around them for their herbal and magical craft. As a non-binary gay queer, the outsider perspective is important to them, and they are deeply drawn to invasive species, which have been much maligned and persecuted. That working relationship spurred the creation of the Tameless Path. And of course, I did interview Kamden, so you can also meet them on M3. But for now, let's crack this book and take a look at what's inside. So here is some praise for the Tameless Path. Another bio for Kamden. Some more books that they wrote. Acknowledgements. And finally, the table of contents. The way I see it, this book is kind of broken down into two different parts. The first part is kind of theoretical. It tells you what's going on, gives you background info, etc. And the second part is kind of like an encyclopedia of weeds, including spells or rituals that you can do with each one. So chapter 1, The War on Weeds, really explains the situation that's going on in the world today with plants that we would call weeds, things that we are taught to not want in our garden. But wait, maybe they actually have a purpose. This chapter was pretty eye-opening for me. Chapter 2, and I'll translate the Latin, from one many, from many one. This chapter is heavy on alchemy. Kamden gives a great explanation of the basic cosmology here. I really enjoyed it. Chapter 3, all things in their time, planetary magic, zodiac magic, the doctrine of signatures, planetary pinnacles. I really love reading about this stuff. And certainly each one of these topics could fill an entire book on their own, or many books. But Kamden really does a great job at consolidating and giving almost like a primer of information, which will be especially helpful if this is your first time reading about any of these topics. Chapter 4, A Wart Hunter's Handbook of Methods. These are different ways to prepare herbs, dry preparations, wet preparations, magical preparations, and alchemical preparations. And chapter 5, The Materia Medica Magica. This is where we really start to get into the encyclopedia of weeds section of the book. And you get a full entry for all of these plants. Then chapter 6, Honor Herbal Mentions. Honorable mentions. So punny. Just a quick short entry on these plants. And chapter 7 is appendices and stuff like that. Now, I'm just going to flip through and show you a little bit. Now, real quick, here's something that I really appreciate, okay? Look at the footnoting. Kamden does great footnoting. I just appreciate reading footnotes, and I appreciate when the author takes time to put footnotes into their book. And then if we go a little bit deeper, I want to show you some of the entries on the particular weeds themselves. So if we get to the Materia Medica Magica here, this first entry is on acacia. So we get the scientific name acacia. We get the planetary correspondence to the sun, the elemental correspondence to air, and the astrological correspondence to Sagittarius. And then there is the AKA section, which is the folk or common names. And if we just look through, there's a few paragraphs in the beginning in general about this particular plant. There are foraging uses, which is ways that you could use the plant that's edible, right? So like here is an acacia bean coffee recipe. That's pretty cool. I'd never thought of something like that before. If you go a little bit deeper, there's remedial applications. In this particular case, these are like partially medical uses for the plant. Then there's magical applications, like there's an incense recipe. And some of these give pretty detailed rituals or spells that you can do. Like if we take this entry, the next entry on bindweed, for example, look at this example of some candle magic that you can do using bindweed. I think this is really awesome. Okay, so I'm not going to show you all of this. That's what you buy the book for. But if we do get all the way into the back, here we have some of the appendices and helpful charts and tables and stuff like that. Now here's the drop test. Okay, it's a pretty standard size book. I really enjoyed it. Not a lot of people talk about weeds, so this conversation is something that should probably happen more often. If herbology is a topic that interests you, I think you'll enjoy it too. Look for the link below where you can grab a copy for yourself, and then as always, come back here and tell me what you think.